G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life, and today we're going to be comparing my 2009 BMW Z4 23i with this Porsche Boxster 987. In terms of exterior styling, I would describe the Boxster as a beautiful car and the Z4 as a striking car. The Boxster overall I think is a classy and nice looking car, but it's very smooth in its appearance. There's not too many sharp edges. You compare that to the Z4, there's a lot more lines all over the bonnet and all down the side and all over the back and everything. It's still a very feminine shape, but with a much more angular design, which I for one think looks really cool. Now, as much as I would love to show you the engine of the Boxster, they've done a mighty good job at hiding it. So for all I know, it doesn't have an engine at all. But because of course this car is mid-engined, below the roof and behind the seats is a 2.7 litre flat six. It makes 177 kilowatt and 270 newton meters of torque, and in the case of this it could be paired with either a 5-speed automatic like this car or a 6-speed manual. You could also get this particular shape Boxster as the S variant, which had the larger 3.2 litre engine, which of course has more power and torque, along with a few other upgrades like bigger wheels and bigger brakes and so on. But I chose the non-S model because I figured it would more squarely compete with my BMW Z4, which has a 2.5 litre straight six with 150 kilowatts, so a little bit less than this, and 250 newton meters, so again a little bit less than this. So it makes sort of about 25 less kilowatt and newton meters than the Porsche over here, but it has a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is a little bit better, and both of these cars of course are rear-wheel drive. The interior of the Z4 matches the exterior styling remarkably similarly. There's a lot more creases and angles. The advantage this interior has is that you can enjoy your sports car experience, but you can also have the features that you want. It's got an excellent infotainment system up here. The driving position is absolutely spot on. The steering wheel leather is really high quality. The seats I find are very comfortable, and there's lots of adjustment down here so you can get a driving position that is comfortable to you. And the build quality throughout is pretty darn good. The first thing you notice about the Porsche's interior is that it definitely feels a little more cramped and a little more small in here. The driving position for me is still fantastic, but if you are a larger person, then the Z4 will definitely be a much more comfortable car. But the quality is outstandingly good. The steering wheel itself just feels beautifully crafted, and there's not too much going on the inside of here. It's just the things you need. This particular car also has traction control and has adjustable dampers as well, along with a little spoiler lift button back there, which is quite cool. It's obviously not as featuresome as the BMW, but in terms of quality and the simplicity of the design, you can tell that this car was made to drive and nothing else. Driving the Porsche Boxster. The engine dominates the driving experience of this car. The sound alone is miles better than the Z4. The Z4 straight six is the same engine that you find in a 323i. Like, it's not a special engine. You compare that to this. Oh my, that racket behind your ears. I have not heard a sound behind me like that since I drove the Honda NSX, and that's high praise. And it does a few little burbles, not too many, but a few. But the sound, oh my. Oh, yes, that is so good. Handling is fantastic. Oh my goodness, this handles so good. Oh my, it holds on so, I'm going really fast through these turns and it is just holding on. Holy moly, the balance and just the way that it drives, you feel like you can just flick it around. You know exactly what it's doing. Oh my goodness, I see why people love these. This is one of the best handling cars I think I've ever driven. Like, that is beyond belief good. Steering feel is amazing. It's got nice quick darty steering. The car just darts all over the road. Immediate response when you turn the wheel. The engine, it's not the fastest car in the world. You know, certainly compared with my Accord, it feels maybe as fast, if not slightly slower. But the sound is just amazingly good. We've got to hear that again. Oh, we're only in third now. We've got to go into second. There we go. Oh my goodness. If this had a manual, I reckon I would say with confidence that this would be the best car I have ever driven. One last pull. Oh yes. Driving the BMW Z4. Now, there are 3 advantages that the Z4 has. The first one, having a soft top is fine, but it's not ideal. Whereas with the hard top, all operates electronically. You don't have to get out and do anything. You don't have to unlatch anything. You just push buttons and away you go. The second advantage is the transmission. It shifts so much better than the Porsche. Rev matches downshifts. The upshifts are just incredible. I've driven quite a lot of BMWs with this transmission, and the way it's programmed in the Z4 is completely different, so much better. In terms of the handling, yes, the Porsche is more balanced, and yes, if you push the Porsche, you start to get kind of lift off oversteer, you can kind of trail brake it. It feels like it moves around a lot more underneath you, whereas this, if you push it too hard, it just tends to understeer, if I'm honest. The steering feel is excellent when you put it up into Sport Plus mode. It changes the steering feel, sharpens the throttle response, sharpens the transmission performance, and it makes for an unquestionably fun car to drive. It's just the Porsche, I suppose, was just that little bit more exotic. The Z4's advantages is that it has a more spacious cabin with a lot more features and is a bit more comfortable. The seats aren't quite as tight. It has a metal top roof, which is excellent, and it definitely has a better transmission. Now, obviously, if you get in the Porsche with a manual, which you should, then that's a different story. The advantage the Porsche has, it's got a better engine with more power and a better sound. It's that little bit more balanced. The handling is a lot better. The steering feel is a bit better. It's got a better built interior that doesn't creak and rattle quite so much. The engine sings a much nicer note. But truth be told, both of these cars put a massive smile on your face. I have really enjoyed my Z4 since I bought it. Oh, I don't enjoy it when it tells me I'm running out of fuel. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life. And if you want to see me comparing my Z4 with the N54 version, the S-Drive 35i, then click over here. And if you want to see the first video that I did with my Z4, then click over here. And I will look forward to seeing you again. Oh yes, we like tunnels. Next time.